I was away last week at the Taylor Swift concert, so I didn't get a chance to chat with my good friend Todd Fuhrman. But now I'm back, and here he is with another edition of Todd's Odds, brought to you by FanDuel. Todd, first of all, I have to give you your flowers. I have to give you the stage for a moment here because you told us to bet on the Toronto Argonauts to win the Grey Cup before the playoffs even started, and you came through big time, buddy. You have the floor.
You know the best part about all that, Jay? If I knew that Nick Arbuckle was going to be the starting quarterback in the Grey Cup final, we probably wouldn't have had to tie up our money for multiple weeks on end. We could have bet the Argos on the money line. But a hat tip to the Boatsmen for winning the second Grey Cup in 3 years and spoiling the dynasty that Winnipeg hoped would be fruitful and maturing with their fifth trip to the Grey Cup final in as many years.
Well, I'll say this. Todd and I are already talking about going to the Grey Cup in Winnipeg next year. Todd and Winnipeg, it's going to be a wild time. But that's a whole other story. That's a whole other segment. Huge matchup in the NFC West on Sunday. You got the Seahawks facing the division-leading Arizona Cardinals. You also have the Niners in Lambeau. You also have the Rams hosting the Eagles. All four teams in the NFC West right now, Todd, as you know, are at 500 or better. 7 weeks remaining in the season. Who do you see coming out on top in this, the NFL's most competitive division?
It's fascinating to watch everything unfold in that division, Jay. San Francisco, of course, dealing with questions about what players will or won't be available for the trip to Lambeau this weekend. And it doesn't get any easier for the 49ers as they play the Buffalo Bills a week from Sunday on Sunday Night Football. Arizona, the short shot in the division here, but a de facto coin flip this weekend against the Seahawks. I'm kind of would like to hedge my bet and actually take the two long shots on the board, have a little bit of Seattle exposure and a little bit of the Rams, because I think this division is wide open. All it's going to take is for one team to really hit its stride, and no reason to believe it can't be the Rams or Seahawks at some pretty generous price tags compared to their two compatriots.
As for the AFC, as far as the wild card is concerned, Todd, we have the Chargers, we have the Ravens, and we have the Denver Broncos and a red-hot Bo Nix holding on to those three wild card spots at this moment. Do you feel those three teams will be there at season's end? And if not, is there another team you see potentially making a rise?
You know, Denver deserves a world of credit. Bo Nix put on a tremendous performance over the weekend against the Atlanta Falcons, absolutely shredded that defense. The Indianapolis Colts, we thought we could write them off when they went to Joe Flacco, went back to Anthony Richardson, and they'll have their hands full this week against the Lions. Two teams that we didn't mention that I think would be worth small flyers that have a chance to get in, but are going to need things to break the right way for them. The Miami Dolphins being one, their schedule relatively favorable on paper. They do have to play a bevy of cold weather games, though, down the stretch, which has always been a little problematic. And you know what, Jay? I am a glutton for punishment. I am not ready to write off the Cincinnati Bengals. They've been close time and time again. Maybe they finally get over the hump, can go 5-1 or maybe 6-0 down the stretch. I wouldn't be averse to nibbling on the Cincinnati Bengals at a price tag right around 5-1.
You mentioned Bo Nix. We talked about him. He's been a great story. Last 4 weeks, 10 total touchdowns, just 1 interception. But Jayden Daniels has sort of been the story as far as offensive player of the year in the NFL. He's been the overwhelming favorite all year long. Do you see that changing? Do you see Nix actually challenging Jayden Daniels for that award?
You know, Bo deserves a world of credit. That number has come crashing down, and I wasn't necessarily a Bo Nix believer with Denver using that top 15 pick to draft a guy that they thought could be the face of their franchise going forward. But I think as the number continues to shorten on Jayden Daniels, it may actually prove to be an opportunity to get in on him now. The mini bye, in my opinion, will make him feel a little bit healthier dealing with that rib injury that slowed down his dynamic running ability in recent weeks. So while I think it's a two-horse race, Jayden Daniels, in my opinion, gets the leg up. I know it's not exactly going to offer that much value and upside, but the other long shot that I wouldn't rule out, and he was going to need a ton of help, I like what I've seen from Drake May, and he may ultimately be the second best quarterback in this class. Now, will he have enough runway left to win the Rookie of the Year? I highly doubt it. So I still think it's Jayden Daniels, even as the number has shortened up substantially over the last couple of weeks.
And sorry, Caleb Williams fans and Bears fans, we're just not talking about him at all. But we're talking all about this guy, Todd Fuhrman. You're the best, my friend. We'll talk to you next week. No Taylor Swift next week.
Always a pleasure, Jay.
When we return, the On Rights and Wrongs, it's Canada's most popular sports television segment.